For literally thousands of years, people have been using certain mushrooms for, these profound spiritual experiences. But now, science is starting to look at these exact same fungi through a totally different lens, as a potential key to unlocking some of the deepest, most stubborn mysteries of the human mind. All right, let's get into it.
I mean, it's a pretty bold question, right? It bridges this ancient, mystical world with cutting-edge neuroscience. So for the next few minutes, we're going to follow the science and see what it's really telling us about the potential of psilocybin, which is of course the active compound in what people call magic mushrooms.
And this is not some new fad. The relationship humans have with these mushrooms is ancient. We're talking rock murals from almost 9,000 years ago that seem to show them being used. Then, you fast forward to the 14th century, you see them popping up in sacred Mesoamerican texts. And then, and this is a huge leap, you jump to 2021 and the FDA gives psilocybin a breakthrough therapy designation. That massive contrast from ancient ritual to modern medicine is what makes this whole story just so compelling.
So yeah, let's start right there. Let's look at how this ancient mushroom is making its way into the world of modern medicine.
See, in their original context, these were absolutely not party drugs. They were sacraments. In Mesoamerica, shamans used them to do things like diagnose illnesses, for actual healing, and to connect with the divine. The whole idea was that the experience could allow the soul to leave the body, a really powerful tool for both spiritual and physical wellness.
So what is it inside these things that produces such a profound effect? Well, it really all comes down to two key molecules. Let's meet them.
First, you've got psilocybin. But here's the catch. Psilocybin itself doesn't really do much in your brain. You can think of it like a package that's all sealed up. It's the stable, main compound you find in the mushroom, but it needs your body to unlock it.
And once your body unlocks it, it becomes this molecule, psilocin. Now this is the stuff that gets to work in the brain. It's the active ingredient, the one that's actually responsible for the whole psychedelic experience. It's just less stable, which is why the mushroom cleverly stores it as psilocybin.
So, here's a simple way to think about it. Psilocybin is the sturdy delivery truck. You eat it, and it safely carries its cargo through your system. But it's the package inside, Psilocin, that gets unwrapped by your body and finally delivered to the brain. One's the vehicle, the other is the message.
Okay, so now that we've met our two key molecules, let's actually trace that delivery truck's route. We're going to follow the compound from the moment it's eaten all the way to its activation inside the body. All right, it all starts with ingestion, obviously. As soon as that psilocybin hits the acid in your stomach, that delivery truck gets unpacked. A little piece of it, a phosphate group, gets stripped away and boom, psilocybin turns into psilocin. And it happens fast. Within just 30 minutes, you can already detect that active psilocin in the bloodstream, and it hits its peak concentration right around the 3-hour mark. So, the package has been delivered. Now for the most important part of this whole journey. What happens when psilocybin gets to its final destination, the brain? How does it actually change our consciousness? Okay, here's the key. Psilocybin looks a whole lot like serotonin, which, as you know, is a super important neurotransmitter that regulates our mood. It fits almost like a key in a lock into a specific serotonin receptor called 5-HT2A. And activating this receptor is what scientists think is the main reason for those classic mystical or visionary experiences.
But it's not quite that simple. Psilocin isn't like a sniper hitting just one target. It's more like a shotgun. Sure, it hits that main 5-HT2A receptor, but it also lights up a whole bunch of other receptors all over the brain. Serotonin receptors, dopamine receptors, you name it. This widespread action is probably what gives the psychedelic experience its rich, complex, and kind of unpredictable nature.
And all of this activity completely changes how the brain is organized, at least for a while. It breaks down the normal, rigid patterns of communication between different brain networks. This neurological shakeup is what researchers think is behind the feeling of ego dissolution, that sense of oneness with the universe where your sense of self just kind of dissolves. It's a core part of the experience for a lot of people.
Now, this brain shakeup, it's not just a temporary light show. Researchers are starting to believe that this period of super flexible brain activity might actually be a window of opportunity for healing, a chance to literally rewire the brain. And this idea is being tested really rigorously. Let's just look at one major clinical trial for depression. In this study, people were given a single dose, just 25 milligrams of psilocybin.
The results were pretty incredible. On a standard scale used to measure depression, the average score for people before the trial was 32. After that one 25 milligram dose, the average score dropped all the way down to 20. That's a 12-point drop. I mean, in clinical terms, that's a massive reduction from just one session.
So how in the world does it do that? Well, the science seems to point to a few things. First, it helps quiet down a part of the brain that tends to be stuck in overdrive in people with depression. Second, it boosts neuroplasticity, which is just a fancy word for the brain's ability to change and form new connections. And third, it increases certain growth factors. Think of them like fertilizer for your brain that help new neurons grow. So it's not just about changing your mind, it's about physically changing your brain.
All of this, it points to a really, really exciting future. But, like with any powerful new tool, there are some pretty big questions and challenges we absolutely have to talk about. So let's be really clear. This is not a silver bullet. That same incredible study that showed the huge drop in depression scores, it also found that 77% of the participants had some kind of adverse event. Now, most of it was stuff like headaches and nausea, but it's a super important reminder that this is a serious intervention that has to be done with careful medical supervision.
And the research is just exploding. Beyond depression, there are clinical trials happening right now looking at psilocybin-assisted therapy for all sorts of tough-to-treat conditions like anorexia, PTSD, and even alcohol and substance abuse. The potential is huge, and science is working hard to figure it all out.
Which really leaves us with this final, crucial question. We've got a molecule with thousands of years of human history that science is now saying could be a powerful medicine. It offers a totally new way of thinking about mental health. But the challenge isn't just about proving that it works. It's about figuring out how to do it safely and ethically and effectively. How do we build the right container in modern medicine for an experience this profound? That is the real challenge and the incredible opportunity that lies ahead.